Hi there, this is Art in Touch with a Rainbow Loom tutorial for Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. For this pattern, you're going to need some black, some skin tone. I originally used a kind of tan. I'm going to use more of a lighter pink this time. You can use a shade of straw, orange, or gold for the shirt, caramel or darker brown for the vest, belt, cufflinks, and boots. I'm using a kind of olive green for the pants. And for the hat, if you choose to add that, you can use, again, a straw, a gold, or a yellow kind of shade. For the eyes, I'm using a couple of smaller pony beads, and I'll draw on the pupils with some black, with a black Sharpie marker. Beyond that, you'll want to have a couple of C-clips, a hook, and a holding hook if you'd like an extra one, and our loom, which will be in the offset configuration like so. Okay, I'll give you a couple of options along the way, but for now, let's dive right into it. We're going to start with the boots, and I'm going to take a single boot colored band using brown. I'm going to wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4 times onto the hook, and put that onto a doubled over single. So I'll show that to you a little more slowly actually. Stretch, twist, bring it back on top of itself, put it on the end, and slide over. And replace. Now on my original boots here, I did 3. So you can do 3 doubled over singles, or you can leave it at 2. I'm gonna do 2 this time to make it a little bit shorter, but if you wanted to add another one, you could do that, and that gives you these really long looking boots. Okay, I'm gonna leave this on the hook, but slide it down a little bit. Take a second single band, wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4, put it onto a doubled over single, get another single, double it over, and pull it through both pieces. So one of these will act as the heel, the other is the toes, and if you wanted that longer look, you would put the 3 doubled over single bands. This is going to be a slightly shorter boot this time, just to see how that comes out. So to compare, long version, short version, you can decide what you like. From here, I need 5 more doubled over singles. So take 1, stretch, twist to bring it back over itself, pull it through. 1, repeat, 2, 3, 4. Now you might find that your boot starts to curl a little, so if you wanted to have only 4, a little bit shorter, you could do that as well. I think maybe this time I will just do the 4. So including the first one, we've got 5, but you could make it a little bit longer or a little bit shorter as you like. From here, I'm going to switch to green for the pants. Now, I like the effect that I got here, the kind of parachute pants, right? She's got the big pants. But I will give you a couple of options if that's looking hard to do when we get to it. You could take 2 or 3 or 4 bands at a time, slide them on, slide them through, and stack them up. That would, I'm guessing you'd probably want about 8 to 10 sets, depending on the thickness. A second option would be to lay the bands out on your loom. So you could do it in a couple of rows and connect them. I'm going to show you the way that I did this, and if you're not comfortable with it, you can play around with some other options here. So I took 2 green bands, I slid them through, and before I replaced it, I took 2 green bands and put them through one side. Then I put the other side back on, and I slid 2 green bands under there, and I replaced it. So 2 green bands under each side of the first 2 green bands. Now if that's looking or feeling very awkward, again you could lay it out onto the loom and do each set as you go, like that. I'm going to take 2 green bands and slide it through all the bands on the hook now. And then I'm going to repeat. So 2 bands, slide it through the first side, put the other side back on, and slide it through. Now if you're using a crochet hook as I am, you could potentially slide this back and forth and bring your bands under on one side and then the other. Let me put on the next set and then I'll kind of show you what I mean. So if I put the 2 through, I could come down the loom, or sorry, down the hook, and slide it on from the back side. So if you feel like that's more comfortable, that would be another possibility. This is the 3rd time that I'm putting the 2 bands onto each side. And I just brought it back to the first side, and so now I've done this 1, 2, 3 times, and I want to do 1 more. So I'm going to leave one side off here, and whatever method works for you, go for it. And if this is really a struggle, you can always just go with double bands, like 2 bands at a time, or for thickness you could do more than 2. And I'm going to take 2 last green bands and slide them through all of these. So that is 1 foot, 1 leg. Now if you feel like this is too much going on, you can put this onto a separate hook, or you can leave it right where it is, and we'll do the second leg. So single wrapped 1, 2, 3, 4 times, hold on to a doubled over band, and onto another doubled over single band. For the longer toe, you can add a 3rd doubled over single. If you want to keep it short, leave it where it is. And then we slide it down a little, single wrap 1, 2, 3, 4 onto a doubled over single. I'm just wanting to make sure I've got all these pieces on. Get another doubled over single, slide it through, and this is going to go through both of those pieces and be replaced there. Now you can put on 5 doubled over singles, or you can keep it to 4. The more you do, the longer the boot will be, but it can also lead to a little bit of that curling because we have some tension on this section here. I'm going to do the 4 again in addition to that initial one. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, personally, I like the longer. I think I like the longer boot myself. But like I say, it's your choice. I'm going to go back to my green, my pants here. Take 2, slide it through. Put 2 on one side or through one side. Replace it, put 2 through the other side. Two bands through both of those, or through all of those I should say, and repeat 2 onto one side, replace 2 onto the other, bring that onto 2 more bands, and I think we need 2 more sets of these. This is the popular number here is 2. Just how it worked out. That one and other side. And onto 2. Last time. You could always make this a little shorter or a little longer as you please. And other side. Okay, we're almost done the legs here. Slide it onto 2. Now you're going to take 2 more, or 2 last green ones, and bring it through both of the leg pieces. If you feel like you want to turn one of your legs around, you can take it off the loom or off the hook and adjust it and put it back. And I just put both sides on. You can leave this where it is, or again transfer it onto another hook, another space. I'm going to slide that down a little bit. We're going to go into the arms, which I feel are actually a little bit easier. Okay, so just lost my picture there. Hold on, there we go. Our arms are going to start with 2 skin tone bands. Wrap it on your hook 1, 2, 3 times. Pull it onto a doubled over single skin tone. Replace. And if you want to have those nice arm cuffs on, which we probably do, single doubled over brown and another. And then we're gonna get 9, that's the wrong color, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 skin tone bands. You can probably get away with 8. Double over and put them onto your hook there, one at a time. Now your arms are also going to curve a little bit. If the doubled over ones are something you're finding a little challenging, you could do 2, but you will get thicker, that's my phone, sorry about that, thicker arms there. It's actually a friend I was wanting to get in touch with yesterday and we didn't manage to connect, so I'll try her when this video is ready here. Okay. Slide it down a little bit, and second arm single wrapped, oh sorry, double, sorry, 2 bands together, wrapped 1, 2, 3, pulled onto a single doubled over band. And then onto 2 individually doubled over brown ones. And you'll get your next 9 skin tone bands. And double it over, slide them on. Alright, we can go over to the loom now, and we'll start on the body. So I went right to the neck part here with my orange color. You could use skin tone. I'm going to start with the orange though. 2 bands, top center to the second peg down in the center. And we'll come down 1, 2, 3, 4 more times with double orange in the middle row. So 2 at a time here. This should take you to your 6th peg down. We'll come from the second center peg to the second side peg. You can do that once for either side. And we'll come down 4 times on either side with double orange bands, or whichever color you're using for your shirt, inner shirt part. A lot of my oranges are really stretched out here. I'm trying to pick ones that aren't too loose and loopy. Okay, there we are. And now I'm gonna have one set of double brown bands. So 2 bands together in the middle from the 6th peg down to the 7th peg down, and do that on either side from the 6th pegs to the 7th pegs. And then we'll switch to green for one set on each of the rows. Okay, you can take your arm pieces and transfer the bands onto the 2nd pegs down on either side. If you want or need or feel like flipping them around so that they're curving more inwards, you can play around with the direction. We're going to take 2 green bands, or sorry, not 2 green bands, we've got these 2 green bands here. Take the bands that your legs are on, and one side will go on to the 8th peg down where you finish your green on one side. You're going to stretch it across onto the other side. And just keep the legs right in the middle. Okay, you can separate out the legs and bring the 2 bands over that center peg. And we're gonna put some holding bands on. So, let's see, I'm gonna start at the bottom here. I'll take 2 brown bands, bring them across your 7th pegs down. This is where your green started. So it should be sitting right above the leg piece. And we'll do that again above. If you are really needing or wanting to save bands, you can use 1. This will make it just a little bit sturdier there. We're going to take a single orange and come across your 5th pegs down. So that's your next triangle up. And for the 2 above, I would like to, or I would recommend to use doubled over singles, because we're going to add on the little vest extension, and that's going to make it a little bit wider. And we want to keep the torso snug here. Okay, like so. And the last thing is the vest. So we'll get some brown bands handy. We're going to take a single, wrap it on the hook once and twice, and put on 2 bands, slide it through, and another 2, slide it through. Take the bands on your hook and put them onto the 2nd peg down where your arm is sitting. You want to find the end of that little chain and bring it down to the 4th peg from the top. So you're going to skip over one and place it on the next, and grab one little piece out of the middle loop, the part in the middle there. Bring it over the 3rd peg from the top. Going to do one of these on the other side. Single wrapped twice onto 2 sets of 2. And turn this around, transfer it onto the peg that has the arm on it. Make sure you get all the loops. Stretch and find that bottom of your chain and transfer it onto the 4th peg down. So skipping over one, putting it on the next. And we'll grab one little section here, bring it over. Okay, I believe we are ready to loop this up. I'm going to start on the side closest here so you can see a little bit. We want to grab these bottom 2 bands. They're coming from the peg above. So we push back, push through and back the leg bands on that 9th peg down. Grab those bottom 2, bring it up and over, push back your brown holding bands, get the bottom 2 brown, bring them up and over, and continue like this until you get to the arms. So each time you want to find and bring up only the bottom 2. You can see them on the side, you can pull them out from the side. When you get to the arm, reach through the arm, get your bottom 2 orange and bring them up to your second center peg. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You can turn your loom around if you need a better angle. Okay, this one wants to be a little bit tricky here. Okay. And into the second middle. Then I'm going to go to the bottom where the leg pieces are, and I'm going to loop up the green and loop up the brown and continue looping until I get to the very top, and there should not be too much in your way at this point. If you feel like your loom is starting to get a little bit tight or loose, as mine is, you can pop off some of the bands on the lower sections as long as they are properly secure at this point. And sometimes I like to do that just to relieve some of that tension there. Okay, hold on to the bands on that top center peg and you can take the rest of this off of the loom. Okay, oh, I thought I had a loose band there for a minute. That wouldn't have been good. Sometimes it happens, but still. Okay, when you're ready, your hook can go through the bands on the top center peg and you can remove those. And you can put this on the side or hold on to it for now. Okay. Let's see, let's do the face and hair next, and then I will show you how you can make the hat if that's something that you would like to add. Now, I put the hat on after the fact, so if you want to start building it on now, you could theoretically put your gold or straw color on the first couple of rows and then weave in, just like with the boot here, you could do some doubled over singles and make a line and attach it on. So that is one method you could play around with. I'm going to show you the way that I went about this. So we'll start with 2 black bands. I'm going to make the head and the hair, and then I'll show you the hat separately. 2 black bands, top center to top side, and repeat on the other side, and 1 stone on each row. Now you have another option here. If you don't want to have the hat, you can switch to skin tone at this point. And if you just want sort of a smaller top here, you could also leave out that second row of black. The alternative would be to have another set of black bands here, which is what I did originally. It does make the head a little bit taller, but it's totally up to you whether that's something you want to do or not. I'm going to leave it at this for now. And we'll switch to skin tone and come down 3 times in the middle with double bands, or 2 at a time. And on either side we'll come down twice with double bands, or 2 at a time. And I'll turn this for you to see in just a minute here. Okay, double skin tone from your 4th side to your 5th center, and repeat on the other side. Make can put a doubled over single skin tone band across the 4th pegs. Make a little triangle there. That will keep the face nice and tight. And we're gonna skip the next one for the moment. On the 2nd pegs down, you can use black or skin tone, either will work fine. Doubled over single. And for this remaining one, we're gonna put the eyes on, but let's get the body ready first. So the side that you want on the front is gonna be facing down. I'm gonna turn this around so that my front side faces down. So I'm gonna flip this when it's all done. So that might mean taking it off of the hook, or you might find both sides look relatively close, and if it's all the same to you, it doesn't, then maybe it won't matter. But if there is a side that you prefer to have showing, that's what's gonna go on the side you can't see at this point. And I'm putting those onto the 5th peg down. And then we'll get eyes ready. Now I'm using beads that have a large hole, so I can put them right onto my hook. If your beads have a smaller hole, I will very quickly show you. You can use the dental floss or wire method. For that, you slide a piece of floss, oops, let's try the other side here, through both of your beads. And then onto a doubled over single. And then back through from the opposite direction. So this is if your beads have a smaller hole. My dental floss is really getting bent here. I think I need a new piece soon. Well, at any rate, you can see it's gonna slide right on like so. And you'll do that for both of the eyes. If you wanted to use bands instead of beads, you can wrap each of your bands 3 times on the hook and then transfer them onto that doubled over single. And we're gonna take that band and put it across the 3rd pegs down on either side. Get your hook between the eyes and bring that band over the 3rd peg down in the middle. Okay, we are getting close to the end here. For the next part, we want to make some chains for the hair. If you want to have more than one, you can, and if you want to play around with the length, you can. I myself am taking a single black, wrapping it twice on the hook, and I'm going to put that onto 8 pairs of bands. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's Zolty in the background, Zoltan. You could make this longer if you wanted, or shorter. And I'm going to put it onto the top side peg. If you want the hair to be very thick at the top, you can make an extra one and bring it all the way up to the top one. I'm just going to go to the top side peg and transfer it there. And just as with the vest, we want to take a piece out of each of the next section of chain, bring it onto the pegs that are sitting between here. Same thing for the other side. Single wrapped twice onto 8 pairs of black bands. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And onto the top side peg. I'm going to turn this around and bring one from each section onto the pegs that are in between, and then we are ready to loop up the face. Now if you have incorporated your hat on, just make sure that you're getting all of those pieces as well, and in addition, if you have made the extra set of black bands, just loop up as usual, but be sure to get all your pieces. So I'm going to go under the 5th peg, or into the 5th peg where the neck is, get my top 2 skin tone and bring them to the side they came from, which in my case is the side closest to me. Bring the next 2 over to the opposite side, and the last 2 I'm going to loop upwards, and I'll loop up the middle 2 more times. You could do all 3. I like to kind of have my middle piece go up last though, so I'm going to come back to that. And then on either side we get the bottom 2 bands through the top ones and bring them forward. So push back, get your bottom 2, bring them forward, and last ones, bottom 2 to the middle, top middle, and repeat on the other side. Turn your loom around if you find that makes it easier for you to see or reach. At the top we loop into the middle. Now I'm going to go back to that second peg down, loop up one more time, and you can take a single black band or 2 for extra stability, get it on the fingers of one of your hand. We'll put our hook straight down through the bands on the top center peg. Oops. Catch our band, and as I come up I'll turn my hook so that the open part is facing up, grab the other side, and pull over until I have a secure knot there. And get a good hold on that on your hand, a C-clip, a hook, and you can remove Raya from the loom here. I'm going to turn her around. If you have any loose bands or anything that needs tidying, including your holding band, we're going to turn it to the back. Looks like I missed looping up one of these black ones, so let me pull that under a couple of others, and we're going to just grab our band and put that onto a C-clip. Okay. If you want, you can put that under another nearby band just so it doesn't flop around. And then on the front for your eyes, if you have used beads as I have, you can take your Sharpie marker and draw on the pupils. If you've used bands or colored beads, then you don't have to worry about it at all. I do sometimes use black beads or brown beads for eyes of those colors, but have to be just aware if you have black hair for your figure, sometimes it sort of gets lost. Okay, so if you wanted to stop at this point, your Raya is complete. If you want to make the hat, I'll show you how to go about that. So I'm going to turn the loom over this way, and I'm switching to, let me get a couple of these bands out of the way. I'm going to switch to my gold color. You could use the same color as the vest. If you've got a yellow, that's totally okay too. And I actually tried this 4 times before I was happy enough with the way this looks. And just for the record here, this is based loosely on the witch's hat from MBM Crafts. So thank you to MBM Crafts for helping me kind of get on the right start here. I'm gonna take 2 bands, top side to the second down on the side, and I'm gonna lay down another, well, I'm gonna lay down a total of 8 sets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll come down to the second one, And then I'm going to move up diagonally to the third center. Now if you want this to be maybe a, I don't know, a tighter looking hat, you could use doubled over singles. That would be another thing to play around with. I'm gonna just continue with my double bands here. So 2 together, the third down in the center to the fourth down. And I believe we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. From there, we'll come down with 2 bands. This is from the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th in the middle to the 9th peg down on the side. Or 8th peg down on the side. There we go. I'm going to put, right now while I remember, on that last side peg, a single and wrap it nice and tight 3, 4, 5 times. You could even do it 6 times if you wanted. And from here we need some holding bands, or some connecty bands, holding bands. Now I'm trying to remember. Oh, do you know what? I'm gonna make a change here. Let's take off those 2 that you just put on, and we're gonna put a doubled over single there instead. That will tighten things up a little bit. And I'm also gonna replace the diagonal one that we started with. If you don't want to, or you don't feel you need to, that's okay too. This is just gonna tighten it up a little bit. And let's see what else. Over. Just trying to see what I've got here. Okay, let's take a single band, wrap it on the hook, tight as you can here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your point, and then onto a doubled over single. And I'm going to put that onto the middle band on that middle row. So I'll slide that off for just a minute, slide this piece on, and then replace it. And there we go, and that's going to be for the kind of point, the tip. And then we need some holding bands to keep this all together. So we're going to do a doubled over single, and it's going to go across the 6th and 7th pegs down on the side and up triangularly to the 7th peg in the middle. Make a triangle over the next 3, so this will face the opposite direction, and then we need 1 more triangle above that, which will again face the opposite direction. Okay, we should be ready to loop now. So I'm just turning this around because it's easier for me to loop it, but whatever works for you is fine. I'm gonna go down to the 9th peg down on the side, reach into the securing band and pull that up, loop the doubled over single bands to the middle row, and something went wrong there, so give me 1 second. We're gonna fix that. Something went wrong. Hold on. Okay, so this went up, and this was a doubled over. Just popped right off there. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, I'm gonna loop up that middle section. So go under and forward. I'm really nervous that I'm gonna have trouble with this, but I think I solved all the problems the last time around. Okay, and we're gonna come back down or up, depending how you look at it, to that second side peg. And then I'll come back on the side to the 8th peg down on the loom. So this is the second one up from where we finished. We're going to continue looping up bottom bands only until we get to the top. The sound of my cat crunching food behind me. I'm doing this in the kitchen right now. Okay. And when you get to that second one, reach inside and bring it to the top. Hold on to that top side peg, and the rest of this can be released from the loom very carefully. If you've got any loose bands, you want to try to kind of catch them and secure them as you go. And when you're ready, put your hook through the bands on that top side peg. You can kind of give this a little bit of an adjustment. And we'll take the side further from the edge of the hook and slide it over the other side. And this can go onto a C-clip, and you can sort of hide it snug in the back. So I'll put it under another band, going under a third band, and then pulling that under those two. I'll put that onto a C-clip. You can tuck the C-clip under another nearby band if you like. And that's going to be the back side. Turn it around, and then to put it on the head, we line it up, we turn to the back. You can go through the back of the head, grab a gold band, pull it through. I'm going to put this onto the same C-clip I've got in place, or you could of course add a new one or attach it to the C-clip at the back of the head. And on the other side, we'll reach through. We'll get a little piece of the gold from the back. Now you could do this, 3 or 4 more times, or up to 3-4 times if you want to make it really snug. And from there, you're just going to adjust as you like. So let me lay this out before you. I'll just tell you one other trick here. If you want your arms to sort of sit by the side, you can weave through the back. Grab a piece of the hand, slide it under, and put it on a C-clip, and that will keep it from moving around. Okay, so I'll show you the 2 versions here. Now I believe the only 2 differences between the 2 are that I've used a lighter skin tone here, and I did do the extra set of black on the hair on my original, which I think actually made the hat look a little bit lumpier, thicker, so it's kind of nice with the single there. At any rate, there is your Raya, and oh, we also did the feet a little bit smaller on this one. But there is your Raya, and I thank you for watching. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. Take care, guys.